This is my hackle sculpin. A lot of my friends I fish with, and if you're listening to this you know who you are, insist on fishing streamers even when there's bright overhead sun and rivers are low and clear. This fly is sparse, buggy, and only made with two materials other than the hook and lead eyes. It's easy to tie, and it works. When I tie streamers with lead eyes, I like to tie in the lead eyes early, super glue them, let them dry so they don't spin, and then start my thread a little bit later. Take your thread all the way back to the hook point and pull out a hackle feather. Measure a tail, probably about 2/3 of a hook shank in length, and tie it in on the near side of the hook. Snip off the end, clean it up a little bit, grab another feather and repeat that on the other side. The short hackle tails might not have the flow of marabou, but they wiggle in the water and they look great. Take a long hackle feather, tie it in by the tips. As you can see, I've stripped off the bottom fibers. Other than hackle feathers, the only material I'm going to use is dubbing. Because it's designed to be fished when the water is low and clear, muted tones are good. But this Senyo's laser dub in sculpin has just a tiny little bit of flash to it, while still having that dark, muted olive color. So I really like it and think it's a great fit for this pattern. Cover the hook shank all the way up to the lead eyes with just a slight amount of dubbing. You could use chenille for this, but I think using the dubbing allows you to make it a lot more slender. Although if you have fine chenille, which I do not, you could definitely use that. If you have a bobbin cradle, now's a good time to whip finish and put your thread in the cradle to get it out of the way so you can wrap this hackle. Take your hackle pliers and start wrapping the hackle up the hook shank. I use my left hand here to try to keep the fibers from getting caught on one another. In this particular case, I didn't do such a great job, but the point of the hackle here is just to make this fly have a little bit of body and make some noise in the water. Take the hackle all the way up to just behind the lead eyes, leaving yourself just a little bit of room for what's coming next. Once that hackle is nice and secure, trim off the end, make a few thread wraps just to bind down those fibers. Take another hackle and measure it about a hook shank in length and tie it in just behind the eye. I put some pressure on these hackles to make them flare out to kind of imitate sculpin's large pectoral fins. Tie another one in on the other side. Cut off the tips. Pull out that bag of dubbing that you've been using on the body of the fly. Make a noodle, cover up your thread wraps, and then make figure 8 wraps around the lead eyes so it's all covered up by that dubbing. Then bring the thread up in front of the hook eye and find a hackle feather that's a little bit wider than the rest of them. Measure it out so it covers up all of our hackle back to the hook bend. And tie it in nice and tight. Trim it off, make a few more thread wraps, whip finish, clean it up, and go streamer fishing when you shouldn't. And that's it, the hackle sculpin.